Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Bite Size Branding live show with my always wonderful guest, Thom. And
Hi.
I would also and I also like to welcome to the show John Hill, special guest today. He is also our business partner, or my business partner in Ucidity. And Thom also works with us. Thom now represents the Melbourne arm of Ucidity as well. So it's great to have a little team collaboration here this morning. John, I'll throw it to you just to give a little bit of an intro. And then Grant, obviously you can jump in once John's done and give us a little highlight about Grant and what the show's all about today.
Yeah, okay, so John Hill, I am a co-founder of Ucidity. So my strength has been, and maybe always will be, web and CRM, and I guess half of inbound digital marketing, which is what we'll talk about today. Bernard being the other half of inbound.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. I think this is a fantastic celebration to have the whole of Ucidity on a podcast. We haven't done that before, so I think that is great. But to our viewers, basically, we're bite-sized branding. We're all about unbundling a subject matter in 5 minutes or less. Normally with a guest, we do it to 7 minutes, but we decided we're going to put a little bit of extra pressure on John in the sense that he's got to get in. He's part of the team. He's got to butt in and he's got to get his point across. So we're not going to give him the bonus 2 minutes. We're just going to let him butt his way in and tell us about what he knows. But basically, what we really want is subject matter, shares and likes. And I think we just need to give John the first show and get a bit of a feel of what really transpires. And the whole subject matter is 5 minutes or less. Let's unbundle a subject and put some valid points across.
Awesome. Thanks, Grant, for rounding that off. So as you can see, guys, if you read the topic at the bottom, we're talking about three key things: inbound, CRM, and how do those effectively integrate into your website, and what's the importance of doing that? What is that value that all these three elements bring into your business, and how can you turn that into a machine for helping you gain leads, attract and engage new customers, and then maintain those relationships? So are we all ready to kick it off?
I am. You're going to have to hold me back because I'm traditionally one of those people, once they get on stage, you have to pull me off.
Okay, John, cut.
You've got to watch the clock.
Yeah, look, there's a clock right here. You can't. That's the only option. Okay, so guys, first thing we're going to talk about is inbound marketing and the importance of inbound. It's quite a relatively new term in the market. I'll let John kind of unravel it a little bit more about how it works and how it can be effective for a business. Ready to go?
Let's go.
Hit the clock.
Magic.
If I can do it without.
Right. So high level inbound marketing is a term coined by HubSpot, and what it really means is how to set up your online presence to attract the people that you love into your business. And I use the word attract. How to look after them once you're in the business, and we have this concept of the flywheel. Once they're in your business, how to look after them in such an incredible manner that they automatically refer more of those types of people into your business as well. So typically, digital marketing is stuff you do online. Inbound marketing is more about attraction. What do you do with that stuff to attract the right people into your business and attract more of them? So that's a very, very high level.
So just some context to that. What are those things?
Yeah, so typically, classic is going to be like content. If you've heard the phrase "content is king," so having a blog or probably more importantly video now, where you're actually putting out with your branding how to topics that people love lapping up. So as an example, what we do with an avatar or someone that you love working with, we're like, what are the biggest challenges that they're going through? And you pick one challenge and you become a subject matter expert on that specific challenge. Say, for example, it is web. Okay, my website is, I'm worried about it being insecure. So you might have a whole bunch of blog posts about what the impact is of having an insecure website, what to do about it, how to strengthen it for the future, how to engage someone who's an expert. And what will happen is that when you position the content in a specific way, for the people who you love working with, say you love working with people who just speak casually. Okay, so you wouldn't put all corporate speak in there hoping to get Westpac to sign up for you as a security expert. You might get some other businesses who also love just being casual. And this is what we talk about, that attraction phase, which hooks into your branding as well. So it talks about how you position it, what you're wearing. We're not wearing ties at the moment, so we're probably not going to, maybe not attract corporate. You know, we're a tiny bit more casual in who we prefer to work with. You know, we're not super duper corporate. So this is how we share our content. We're a bit more, it's not, you know, how we talk is not super structured, you know, blah, 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 blah. That's that part of that, how you do it.
I think one of the most important parts for businesses out in the marketplace is the fact that you've got a budget, be it small or large, but you want it to be effective. And this is what John has been talking about right now, in the sense of that when you want to be effective, you make sure that your content and your focus in the key area of the target audience is then penetrated with the view to then get them attracted to your site. And therefore, instead of just pray and spray all over town, you'd be a lot more focused.
Yeah, and it's very much a trust-based methodology, right? Like you start to build credibility with the person that you're talking to, and whether or not your article, like often actually the articles aren't even talking about the product or selling the product, right? It's talking about imparting some valuable knowledge to allow them the opportunity to go, okay, this is, identify with it, for them to relate to it, identify with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, we live in an era where people don't want to be sold to, they want to be edutained. My favorite word. They want
I was gonna say it.
I had to be quick. So they want a little bit of education, and they want a bit of entertainment, but they don't want to be sold to. They want to come on a journey with you, and that's all part of that inbound strategy.
Yeah, I think even more so to the fact they don't need to be sold. Like once you give them the information that they need, they don't need to be sold. They sell themselves. They just go, that is so relevant to me. That's exactly what I'm thinking about. Yeah, the security of my website is so important, especially when like e-commerce, people in the e-commerce space need to be thinking about web security, right?
The big thing about inbound is they'll pick up the phone when they're ready.
Yeah.
So you're always offering them an easy way for them to be able to engage with you, but you're not pushing it in their face. It's like, hey, if you have this issue, here's how to get in contact with us. Otherwise, look out for our next blog post or whatever it is, however you engage with it.
It's a long game strategy. You know, you want to maintain a relationship long term, because when they're ready, they'll buy from you.
Yeah.
And I think the secret to inbound is that you as the client must always be ready, because you never know when a client is going to engage, and therefore, you know, you think it's natural, but it's hard work. You've got to make sure that your team is ready, they are communicating ready, and you know that your procedures are in place with the view to handle the clients and the delivery.
Yeah, spot on. We did it.
Do you know what's great about what you just said? You know what's great about what you just said? It actually segues into the next subject matter so well, which is CRM. And that's all about customer relationship management. How do we manage that customer process so that every single customer feels like they're treated with the utmost importance? And that's what a great CRM and a great implementation creates. So couldn't have thought of a better way to wrap up the last subject, Grant. Have you done this before? I feel like you've done this before.
Oh, look, you know, I'm really practicing to be good at this. So
just come on to the show to practice.
How did your first 5 minutes feel on the show?
Good so far. Like, I'm surprised I could speak so quickly. Obviously, I could talk about this stuff for days on end, but I love, you know, whatever comes to my mouth first is obviously the important stuff. So you've got the most important stuff first.
So, John, let me ask you this question. What is it that you would like to get from a show like this, being on a platform like this, talking about the subject that you know so well? What would you like to get out of a show like this?
Look, for me, I love educating. So for me, it's when I'm engaging with my with our clients, but, you know, specifically the ones who I tend to look after more, it's hearing them, getting feedback from them, and they say, wow, that was actually amazing. So I love it when someone learns something from us and they get to impart it in their business and grow their business. That's what wakes me up in the morning.
Well, that's exactly what bite-sized branding is all about. And therefore, we want listeners, we want viewers out there to send us questions, send us subject matter that is a little bit controversial so that we can unbundle it with the view of just exploring our experiences and understanding of the marketplace. So that's what it's all about. So well done, John. I think we're ready for the next 5 minutes there, Bernard. So let's get the title going and let's unbundle.
Awesome, guys. I'm not gonna intro it again. You guys already heard what it's all about. It's all about customer relationship management, or CRM. John's gonna tell us a little bit about the importance of plugging it in and how to make it effective for your business. We all ready to go?
Okay, you got to set your clock. There we go.
I do, actually. Yeah.
15 minutes, wasn't it, Bernard?
Awesome.
Okay, so CRM, perfect segue from what you were talking about, Grant. And so CRM, customer relationship management, in a nutshell, it's a way of having all your customers' details and ideally your business details in one central spot. Whether that be, if you're just starting out, could be a spreadsheet, God forbid, but it sometimes works, or a proper CRM system that allows you to really, really manage all of the data in your business. And I say a lot, it should be your source of truth for everything in your business, ideally. Not always going to be that way, depending on everything puts in together. But as an example, so say, for example, you have a client who say that this ties into this whole inbound marketing flywheel thing. Say, for example, they haven't paid their invoice for a few days, and the accounts team's going to ring them up and give them a call. In the past, that typical accounts person would be like, hey, your invoice is late, when are you going to pay? But in a CRM system, what may have happened is a couple of days before, one of the salespeople got an email from this particular person and got an email saying, hey, we had a kid last week. And so they put in the CRM system, Fred's actually had a kid. Next time someone speaks to him, congratulate them. So the accounts person instead rings up and says, hey, Fred, congratulations, you've just had a baby. We've, well done. You've got an invoice that's overdue, but what we're doing is we're giving you, say, 2 weeks grace time, because we understand this is a really trying time. And we've actually put that invoice on hold for a couple of weeks. And they're like, holy moly, like, who does this stuff? So then when the dad's out having a couple of beers with his mates, he's like, check out what happened. This company rang me up, blah, 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 blah. So therefore, the word gets out. So that's an example of how a CRM can be used really, really effectively.
One of the things that I've always spoken to clients about when it comes to CRM is to try and work out exactly what you want from the CRM before you implement the CRM. Because many times I find clients are trying to grow it organically just as things are happening, and it gets quite hard. Where if you just actually plot the process that you want your whole team to work by, then you find that you're putting the right content into the right folders with the view that everyone then knows how to work it.
Yeah, and in that, we always, like everyone always recommends, you start off with one process. Don't try and revolutionize the entire business, because that's exactly where you miss little pockets, or it doesn't work exactly as the path maps out. Focus on one process, get the process right, and then you can just replicate what you've now created, that base that you've now created, and then expand it across the business. And it can turn into more than just customer management and databasing. It can then turn into a bit of a process management, like with our business. We close a sale, or we get approval of the sale. We then go into the onboarding process. Then from the onboarding, we have the closed one, which means that we've sent all the documentation, it's all been signed, and the invoice has been paid. So managing that process end to end means we never have to chase anyone in the business. We can just look at the system one time, and we know exactly where we're at across all our projects, or all our leads that are coming in. And it also means that nobody gets left behind, which is a big thing that we hear from a lot of our customers. Is like, we're getting so many client requests, and we feel like people are just falling through the gaps. And that's where this becomes amazing for you, because essentially I don't have to memorize, the next time I have to follow up with somebody, or the last conversation that I've had. I can just jump into their profile that I've set up, and I know, okay, I got to follow up with Nick on Tuesday next week. And what we've got to talk about is getting access to this, this, and this. So it becomes more than just managing your customers. It becomes a way of synchronizing the team. And especially as your sales teams grow, that becomes more and more important, so that everybody's on the same page.
I think what's also very important is that it's not just only for accounting purposes. It's for communication purposes as well, because you might be talking to different segments of your target market with giving different messages. And therefore, that's very manageable to manage, that you're not saying things too many times to one person, you're getting your spread across. But I think it's important that it's not an accounting process. It can be, but it's not necessarily that's what it is. It's all about.
Even more so, you could have multiple salespeople talking to multiple people within the same business.
Yeah.
And not actually making those tangible ties means you're missing out on that opportunity. Because if you can talk to Frank and you could talk to Nick in the same business, and then you can tell Nick, hey, Nick, actually, we're talking to Frank right now, and we're getting some good feedback about XXX. How about you guys have a chat? And now you're starting to actually build a better relationship with that business as a whole rather than individuals. Oh, there it is.
Well, it was CRM is a very complex subject. There's so much to it, and it's I think what we really just touched on today is the real outline basics of what CRM is about. But I do believe, in my closing words on the subject, is that all businesses should start with a CRM. There's many different platforms and packages out there, and there's also some free ones. And it doesn't always mean bad in the beginning when you're trying to just work out what it is that you're trying to do. But start with the end in mind and make sure that whatever you're building is then built. Because whenever you're just dealing from a diary or for a piece of paper, that's when customers get lost or dropped. And you never want to do that, because right now, customers are valuable.
And I think to add to that as well, don't get disillusioned with your CRM just because it didn't work when you clicked the button and turned it on. And I think a lot of people, and you said kind of alluded to this before as well, a lot of people like switch it on and go, done. All my customer problems are now finished. And I'm like, no. It takes as much setup as it does everything else in your business. It is a great product and it can work for every business, but you have to invest in it like you do everything else.
Correct. Yeah. John, over to you. Last words.
Well, like we said, this is just the absolute tip of the iceberg. I could probably speak 5 days straight about CRM. I'm sure you guys could as well. So we've actually got some blog posts that we've put out there, which is some of the basics of some stuff that every CRM must have. And, it's a topic that I've been passionate about for probably almost over 20 years now. So I'd love to have a chat if you're curious about CRM.
Yeah, we even have an article that kind of cherry-picked some of the front runners in the CRM space and gives a little bit of a comparison. So if you're not really sure where you want to go with it, have a look at our blog. There is a blog there that kind of compares the different platforms and what your investment, both kind of time and financially, to get in the game might look like. So it's a good place to start if it's on your mind, but you haven't yet figured out which one's the right fit. So.
All right, guys. I'm sorry to say, but you're way past your 5 minutes here. We've done.
Who made you the judge and executioner? Jesus.
No, but I can see the two of you got such synergy that you just you just keep on going. It's like a tennis game.
Yeah, that's right.
You ask one question, we answer 3. Awesome. Are we ready for the last one?
Absolutely.
Right. Well, let's bring it home, and I think this is my favorite. All favorites, but anyway, this
is going to be a big challenge. John has been in the website game for a very long time, basically since the internet started. He was chiseling on a stone back then, and now he's programming on a tablet. About the same thing, actually. And what we're going to focus on though in this chat about websites is actually those 2 elements, and how to get them working with your website, so that as leads start to come through, or as you want to attract traffic to your website, how can you leverage inbound marketing and your CRM to really engage, nurture, and convert those leads coming through the door. We all ready to go?
Well, let me start the subject. You hit the clock, Bernard. I'll start the subject.
You're starting.
I'm going to start. Absolutely.
Ready to go?
Absolutely. Let's get it. Magic fingers. There we go. All right, so basically, I think the most important part of a website is naturally, yes, it's look and feel, easy to navigate, just enough detail, because we do live in the age where people live by 5.4 seconds. If they haven't found the information on your site, they're going to flick and move on to someone else. So therefore, I think it's about not overcomplicating those websites. But I think that the first and foremost of every single site out there is that it's your chance to build trust with your target audience, where they've made effort to come to your landing page. The amount of content that you put forward is to embed trust that you are trustworthy, that you are authentic, that you are honorable, and that you can deliver on what was said on the site. But all of that is now going to start plugging into the CRM and the inbound traffic. But so over to you guys.
Well, I'll go next.
Yeah, you are.
I'm most passionate about this. So yeah, I built my first website back in 1995, and back then websites were built by programmers, you could tell that they were because they were boring. But you're absolutely right, Grant. These days, what we want to be able to do is attract the right people, have them build trust with your business. There's going to be multiple engagement points with that specific person. And one thing I love about that whole inbound CRM and websites is that a good CRM system and website and inbound implementation will allow you to look at all the different touch points you've had with that specific person, whether it be a newsletter that's gone out, a social media post, whether it's going to be 4 blog articles plus a landing page, and it'll tell you what was the path they came through to be able to go through your website and any other contact points as well, and how did they end up being one of your favorite customers. And then from that, you can reverse engineer and say, do you know what? This landing page and this blog post were really, really successful. Let's push those out a bit more and give them a bit more exposure. So that talks into, a little bit more about paid traffic and whatnot. But yeah, the website's a thing that you have to have the website to pull it all together. That gathers the data. And that's the thing that most likely is probably one of the first touch points that someone's going to have with your business.
Yeah, it's really the place that people go to validate you these days, right? Whether or not, and this is an amazing thing that we hear from clients all the time. They're like, nobody ever contacts me through the website. You don't think they looked at it? Like, just because they called you on the phone, you don't think they looked at your website?
What's the first thing you do when you hear about anything? You're, go check out their
I'll
website.
Just Google it. I'll Google it and see what they're about. You know what I mean? So you pull up their website, and then you look at them and go, ugh.
What's that phrase you use? Never hear from the customer.
Yeah, I often say this is you'll never know the customer that doesn't call you, right? Nobody's going to call you and go, hey, I was going to do business with you, but your website was awful, so I decided not to do business. They're not going to tell you. They're not just going to look at it. Yeah. We even had this experience recently, Grant, with a client that we had just been speaking to, right? They were asking us for a campaign for this that they wanted to run. We checked out their website and we looked at each other and went, I don't think these guys are a right fit for us because of the way that they position their brand. And that's the same thing that your customers do. When they have a look at your website, they go, is this guy a right fit for us? And the content that surrounds that then creates also the kind of the environment, the culture that you set up around that. And that then creates that credibility that validates the business. And then hopefully if you can then, and I was going to say actually, because I do a lot of the sales within the business, having that insight is extremely powerful. I can see whether somebody or not has looked at my email. I can see whether they've opened some of our EDM. So when I pick up the phone and go, hey, I saw that you checked out, or hey, did you want some more information on? So rather than it being a cold conversation, I know they've already had some touch points with us. So now I can go straight to what's important to them.
So one of the big mistakes that I found in businesses is the fact that a business owner never phones himself like in his own business, like as if you follow the customer journey. And the same goes for websites. You find that a lot of businesses don't visit their own websites as to understand the frustration or the diamonds that they are dropping because it's too complicated or it's too hard. They take it for granted that it's perfect. This is that you need to revisit on an ongoing basis, because if you don't understand your customer's journey, your customers are going to go and bounce somewhere else.
I'll flick this over to John after one example. I'll let him wrap it up. We're almost out. But we actually had a client that we were supporting them for marketing for about 3 months, and then they'll complain they weren't getting leads. So we tried to send them an email on their forms on their website, and the forms didn't even work. 3 months down the track. And I'm like, is it really our fault then? But anyway, John, I'll let you wrap it up.
There we go.
Final word, John.
Look, I think the website is the glue that holds everything together. Without a website, there's so many businesses out there that survive on, say, just a Facebook page, and they're like, I run my business off Facebook. If Facebook decides to shut the switch tomorrow, you've got no business. Correct. Most people, if you've got a website, you've got something. You own the data, you own the content, you own how it looks, you own everything. So, that's your business. So you have you get to control the outcome.
Absolutely, very much so. I think you're 100% right, and I think it's like it's your shop front to your store, and therefore you'll never have an untidy shop front. So therefore, you must never have an untidy website.
I like that. I like that. Make it tangible. Make it tangible.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Any other last words? Last words.
Don't ever say that to me. Last hours.
Last words. Awesome, guys. That was a great show. Really rapid. Love the energy. I hope you both loved it too.
Yeah, it's great.
Awesome. And thank you very much for joining us, John. It sounds a bit weird because I'm thanking him like he's a guest, but I'm about to go sit next to him anyway.
It's been a bit of a mystery, this whole
Well, John, at least you know what you do every second Friday from now on.
I know.
That's right. I should pop my hand over the top next time.
He came over this morning and he was like, what is this all about? How does it work? And I'm like, mate, don't worry about it. We've got this under control. We got it.
Where's my scripts?
Awesome, guys. We've had quite a few people jump into the show, which we've loved. Please do comment. We do see your comments during the show. So if you do have anything that you write, it does pop up for us. As always, thank you both for joining us. And Grant, thank you for always making the time for the show every second Friday. It is every second Friday, so we will be having one next week. We've had a little bit of a shift around with the timetable, but we will be having one next week, right?
No, 2 weeks time.
Oh, it's 2 weeks out. Oh, this one was the one that bumped up really close. That's right. Yes, because we had one last week. Yeah. So the next one is 2 weeks out from this one. Between now and then, please, everybody, like, comment, share. And the big thing that we're always looking for, that we always ask, is if you are thinking about anything within the branding or the marketing space or the digital space that you would like us to unbundle, if you have anything that you think might be a little controversial, if you see a rebrand and you don't like it or you love it, send it to us and ask us to kind of unravel it a little bit more. We've done LinkedIn's rebrand or the refresh of LinkedIn the other week, and we did the Commonwealth Bank rebrand a couple of weeks back. So we love talking about what these big brands and even small brands are doing with their brands and how they're re-engaging their markets or not re-engaging their markets as they go through the process.
So in 2 weeks' time, basically, will be our last show for 2020, the dreaded 2020.
It will.
And I say it's a dreaded 2020 because we've all been through a pandemic. But I think 2020 is the year that we all woke up. And I think we've realized that life can change on a dime. And therefore, it's about getting your marketing right, getting your communication right, and making sure that you are effective with spending money and not taking the market for granted. I think that's the way to end 2020.
That is a really cool way to wrap that all up.
I love it. That comes back to your point about, even with the CRM, be ready. Be ready for anything. If you're cruising along and you think your business is going well, that's probably the time where you need to have your senses on super acuity and be like, what do we need to prepare for?
Fantastic. Well, guys, I thoroughly enjoyed the show. I welcome everyone out there to like, share, and subscribe. But catch us in 2 weeks, and over to you guys, and let's wrap it up.
Awesome.
Thank you all.
Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great Friday.
Ciao.
See you later.